you got to get past the like 1, 2, and 3 level, like objections and motivations. Like get a little bit deeper. When somebody's like, yeah, I want to buy a house. Okay. And then it's like, oh, well, what has you thinking about buying a house? Well, I want to buy something for my family. Like nobody in my family's ever owned a home before. Cool. And then go into like, I'm the first one, that's ever made it to college, and my parents passed away, and I was, raised as in a broken family, and then I was adopted and all this stuff. And you're like, holy shit. Like now you really get deep with somebody. Yes. And now when you connect on that like deep level, it's amazing. Because anytime you get somebody to talk that much and they share that deeper stuff, like the bond is there, right? Because before they work with you, they got to know, like, and trust you. If they're sharing that, there's a level of trust that goes in it. And some people just like to tell their story. They've never actually been like asked these questions. Everybody just stops at level 1 or 2. When you just get them going, it's amazing what happens. Welcome to the Whissel Way Podcast. My name is Kyle Whissel. I'm your host with Whissel Realty Group and eXp Realty in San Diego. Joined by
Nick Steffl.
What, that all you got?
ISA.
I expect like some big, like grandiose entrance from you. Like, come on.
What do you want? I mean, Nick Steffl, ISA of 2 years here in the ISA department at Whissel Realty Group.
Just Google Nick Steffl plane.
Oh, there we go.
Just see what you find. This guy's a celebrity. He's been featured in many newspapers. Yep. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, just, I mean, he's pretty much an air marshal, like undercover air marshal.
Yeah. Are we doing like a 30-second story?
No, we don't. Well, I just want them to go Googling.
Just hang in the carrot. All right, last name Steffl, Steffl. Yeah. Google it.
Let's see where it takes people.
Let's see where it takes people.
Yeah. Cool. Well, the goal of the show is to give you the tools and techniques to go out and crush it in your business. The way that we like to do that is to answer the questions that you have for us. So if you ever have a question you want to have answered on the show, you can always go to thewhisselway.com. thewhisselway.com. You can ask us questions on there, join our Facebook group, our referral network, and our email newsletter. Also, subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel, and get details on our Media Mayor Mastermind event, which we have an online version, and we are in the works on a in-person event coming up in the very near future. So, thewhisselway.com. If you enjoyed the show today, get a lot of value out of it. If you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure to hook us up with a review on there. And if you are watching on YouTube, hit that little thumbs up button. Let YouTube know you're enjoying the show. Also, make sure to hit subscribe and the little notification bell so you get notified of future episodes of the show.
You got all of them.
We got it.
We got it all.
Check.
I was waiting for all of it. I was waiting for the bell. You got the bell.
We got it. Cool. So, Nick, the people want to know.
Yes.
You're a badass.
Oh, thank you.
You set a shitload of buyer appointments.
Absolutely.
And so buyer leads are something that are very plentiful in the real estate industry. I mean, you could literally pay anybody you want $500 and they're going to go generate some leads for you. Where the quality falls, who knows? But buyer leads are, for all intents and purposes, a dime a dozen. And one of the most common things that I hear people talk about is these leads suck, those leads suck, these suck, that sucks. Like, constantly people are talking about it, and then we'll usually go into like, okay, well, tell me about your follow-up plan. And they'll be like, well, I mean, the lead comes in and I call them and they tell me they don't want to do anything for 6 months. Like, that's a shitty lead. I want better leads.
Right. That's a great lead. Yeah, that could be a great lead. 6 months? That's really soon.
Right?
If you talk to a lender, it could be even sooner.
Yeah, right? They say 6. It is actually 3, maybe 1.5.
Yeah.
Like,
if we see the right property, it could be 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. So first thing, I want to help reframe people's mindset, because I think a lot of lead follow-up starts with mindset. So talk to me a little bit about the right mindset to maximize conversion with buyer leads.
Great question. I think it would be to manage your expectation and have my macro patience on all of it, because this is not real estate. If you're in it to close 20 deals in the next 3 weeks, go work somewhere else, because this isn't where it's going to happen. So I'd say the mindset is like, no one cares about you too. No one gives a shit who you are or how many deals you've closed or what you drive, anything like that. This is all about the customer. So it's not about like what you need to do in doing business and making deals close, la la la. This is all about you listening and like understanding what somebody's situation is. That's literally all you're trying to do is you're calling leads. So understand what their situation is, where they're trying to go, when do they want to do it, what obstacles might they be facing, can they do it, and just keep doing that over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's very interesting because that's what people think, right? Is like, I'm just going to pay for these leads and all of a sudden I'm going to do all these deals. Like not realizing like the conversion cycle on different lead sources. I mean, if we talk about like the lowest hanging fruit, which right now are like live transfer leads. So this is where, you know, a lead came in and like OpCity or Zillow or HomeLight or one of these companies nurtured this lead and like finally got to the point the lead's like, I'm ready to talk to an agent, connect me with somebody who can show me the freaking house. Even those leads, if you're converting those at 8%, which means 8 out of 100, you're doing very, very well. And those will convert within, you know, 3 to 6 months. But then you go to like a pay-per-click lead and people are frustrated that they're not converting immediately. Like those pay-per-click leads, those are going to be like 6, 12, maybe 18 months out from converting.
Totally.
And then you could go to like a social media lead, like a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad. Those things are, you know, a year and a half, 2, 3 years out from converting. So how do you, like, because I think agents, everybody just wants that immediate satisfaction, right? Like, I want to pay money, give me the leads, and I'm going to go convert them. How the hell do you, like, grasp, whoa, you mean I got to follow up for 2 years before somebody's going to do something? Like, how do you accept that? Like, that, I think that's something I watch agents struggle with all the time, that it's okay that it's going to take 2 years. Like, understand how to build a pipeline. Because I think when I watch you and the whole team, you guys understand pipelines. And I think this is something agents struggle with. So talk to me how you kind of look at that.
Yeah, the pipeline, it's just, you know, if you do have a really, really hot lead that's, oh man, if we find the right property, we want to be moved in a month. Awesome. Let's focus on working on that. And then you have someone, oh yeah, 2 years from now, we're going to move to Dallas. Need to sell our house. Great. I'll call you in 9 months, a year, like whatever you have to do, like whatever the plan is. I mean, if you can't afford it, definitely hire on an ISA department because your job as an agent, if you're an agent, like you're saying, your job is to meet with clients who are a bit hotter, like they're further down in the pipeline, like they're ready to go, or they're going to be ready to go pretty soon. So do that. And then if you don't have an ISA department, just prepare that for yourself. Like expect that some people, it doesn't matter that they have to move in 3 years. Again, like it's not about you. This is about their situation. We need to move in 3 years for XYZ reason. Okay, great. In 3 years, let's do that. Move on.
Got it. So when you guys are taking leads, you guys are working a lot of pay-per-click leads as one of the primary lead sources you guys get. You guys are getting website registration leads. You guys are doing a little bit of social media leads, not a whole lot. When you get on with leads that have there's almost an expectation that they're going to be long-term. These are going to be 12-plus month out leads. Right. When you go into that call, what's your goal on that initial phone call with a brand new, and we'll call these a raw lead, meaning they've never spoken to anybody. Yeah. They haven't engaged with text or emails or anything. They just went on a website and registered, whether it was on our website or whether it was on Facebook or whatever the case is. They've registered. That's it. You've never spoken to them. Nobody's spoken to them. Like when you're going into that conversation, what's the goal?
Just understand, just get a feel for what's going on. Like, okay, so you're kind of interested in moving. What's the reason? What has you looking to move? And then, oh, cool. So you're looking to maybe move to New York someday. That sounds like a lot of fun. When would be the ideal time to move to New York? 1 year from now. Great. And then just go through everything you need to know. Qualify. Where, when, why, and money. Those are the top 4. Like if you know those, you know most of the information that you need to know that most people aren't doing too. I really think that that's a huge mistake. Like people are too afraid to ask more and more questions. Like they just feel awkward about the whole conversation. And it's like, what? Why? We're helping. Like you can't help if you don't understand what's going on. So ask the questions, ask questions that you might think would be uncomfortable. You'll be very surprised, especially money. I ask money questions all the time. How often do I get resistance? Almost never. And like these people I've barely talked to. Like we don't even know each other, but because like I don't know if it's the aura or it's just the confidence that you come on the phone with or the fact that this isn't weird. I'm not asking any weird questions right now. Right. I just need to know this information so I can understand what your situation is and help you get there.
Yeah. I mean, think about when you go to buy a car, you walk in and what's one of the first questions they ask is like, oh, well, where would you like your payment to be? Like, they ask that on the regular. Like,
Absolutely.
when's the last time anybody's gone to a car dealership and not been asked that question, right? Or are you going to need financing? Are you going to be paying cash? Like, that's expected when you go to a car dealership. Why should it not be expected when you go to a, all intents and purposes, house dealership? Like, why should it be any different, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting that people take that approach. They're so scared to ask the question, and then you end up on, you know, some worthless appointments where you've got the person waiting on. We have this one, the epic Todd Gloria call. It's the most epic. I would love to share this with people, but I don't think it's legal to share this recorded call.
Right.
But I mean, this guy's talking about he's got like 2 lawsuits pending. It's like one of them is with IKEA for like $1.5 billion, and then there's another one with like somebody else, and then once he gets all this money, he's gonna buy a house in Hillcrest and have sex with the mayor in this house. Like, it was hilarious.
You love
like,
to see it.
Oh, that call. Anytime I'm having a bad day, I just play that call. Like, I have that pinned in the top of our group, just so like anytime you have a bad day, just go play the Todd Gloria call.
Good times.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So the thing is, there's those leads. Like, ask some questions. It's okay to ask some of these questions. And I think the thing that people worry about is offending people. Now, maybe you don't have to do it on the first call. Maybe you have the first call, you set the appointment, and then before you go on the appointment, you can have a follow-up call.
Yes.
And you could ask some more qualifying questions. I know I've gotten on calls, and I'm on the road, I'm distracted, I'm with my kid or with my wife, and I just take a quick call because I don't know who's calling. It's a random number. Like, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to get in a call, and I'm going to get an appointment, and I have good rapport, but I didn't have anything to write on. I wasn't in the right situation, so I didn't get to ask all the questions. There's nothing wrong with following up between the initial call and the appointment and asking some more questions.
Yes.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, so, especially for the live transfers. Like on role play, I try to do that all the time. Like, all right, we're doing this live transfer call, and then immediately after that, let's do a follow-up call. Like, oh, hey, I was just curious. I want to ask you a couple more questions for you guys. Tell me X, Y, Z. That way you get a full – because the last thing I want to do personally as an ISA is set someone up with someone who's super unqualified. What's the easiest way to do that? Not asking anything about money. Oh, you want to see this house? Cool, let's do it. And then an agent meets up with them. They take 2 hours out of their day to drive way out of their way, get the property ready. The client's 15 minutes late. They meet with the client. They show the property. They have some chit chat. And then they realize this person's unemployed. Like, they're looking for Section 8 housing, whatever it might be. Like, why did we meet with this person? Like, that's so much time out of that person, that agent's day, out of their life, when we could have taken 5 minutes to fully understand what was going on and say, actually, let's get a little bit more planned with a lender and like do something that's a little bit more appropriate for the situation. Not that I would say that over the phone, but someone who's actually going to be able to help you a lot more than an agent would at this point, because we're not at that stage yet.
For sure. Yeah, when I see the level of notes that you guys get when you do set an appointment, like, there's times where somebody calls into me and I'll set an appointment for one of our agents and I'll write notes, and then I look at like my notes are like, I'm happy if I get like 4 sentences.
Right.
You guys get like 4 paragraphs worth of notes. Like, it's truly amazing. But I think that goes because that works because you guys ask a lot of really good questions.
Yes.
You're able to uncover a lot. So what are some of the key questions? You've talked about like the what, where, when, why, all of that. What are, like, give us some of the actual scripts, some of the specific questions you're asking to get people to elaborate, because I think far too often agents get so focused on like, got the appointment, nailed it, good, I'm done, check, and they move on. But then they go meet with a person. There's no connection because they never found the motivation.
Yes.
So what are some of the questions you're asking to get that what, where, when, why motivation type stuff out of somebody?
Yeah, we've had some really good resources that we've used and even coaches we've used. So, Chris had Anna Kruger as a coach for a long time back in the day when he was an ISA. So shout out to Anna Kruger for like literally just watching her YouTube videos has done a lot. Marty McSweeney up in Ottawa has like been a huge resource for me and helped me through some of these things as well. And then of course Rachel, like leading all this and getting new resources for us as well. Our department lead, helping us out through that. So I would say the first question is like, as you're opening it up, hey, saw you were looking at some property online, calling to see what your current situation is. That's it. Silence, and then they dig into it. Then if they're trying to get off the phone with you, They say, oh, I got to go right now. Like I got a meeting and we'll just say, hey, real quick, like 20 seconds or less. What had you interested in moving in the next year or so? Let them talk. And then you might talk for 15 minutes after that because like if they
that was just their natural defense.
That was their natural defense. Like they have more to say. They just don't want to talk to a realtor right now or talk to whoever. But once you get into their reason for why they want to do something, now we get the ball rolling. After that, you want to get what their timeline is. Then you want to get where they're trying to go. Again, why do they want to do that? And then, very, very importantly, all the questions about money. If you realize, okay, they have a good motivation, they have a decent timeline, can we do it? If they own property, like, do they have a lot of equity in the property? Yes, cool. I have no more questions for you about money. If they're a buyer and they are pre-approved, and it's at least 5% down, and this, I have no more questions for you. Great, we're good on money. But when it comes to like, hey, we haven't talked to a lender ever, then I'll say, cool, like, what do you want to pay monthly on this? What's credit score looking like? And never saying what's your credit score, but what's the credit score? Like, make it as impersonable as possible. Just, what would you say, what's the credit score right now? Then you go down the line. Credit score, debt right now for everything. Medical bills, car payments, student loans, credit cards, all that stuff. And then on top of that, annual income, that's the big one. Annual income and credit score, that's probably the biggest one of them all. So I kind of have that whole list prepared for myself, and I'll share that tool a little later in the episode where it just pops up my script basically right there for me so I don't forget anything, all these finance things. So then once that's set, once I got all that stuff, then I'm like, all right, cool. This person is super qualified. Let's get them, even if they're like further down the line, your situation's great. Let's get you together with my partner, AJ. Let's get you together with Adrian, or let's get you with Clayton. Let's get you all set up and get a game plan going.
Love that. What are some of the questions that help you get the why? Because I think the why is the most important. Are there any, specific things that you've said that just seem to really resonate with people, or that consistently like get a lot of info out of somebody?
Yeah, especially if they're kind of like beating around the bush with it after I've asked it a couple times. It's like, oh, well, a lot of people have a lot of different reasons for owning property. And I try to not give them too many resources. And that's kind of like my Hail Mary. You don't want to give them reasons and then they'll just parrot after you. But if it gets to that point, it's like some people just want to like start getting equity. They want to stop paying rent. They want to move to a different area. They want a bigger house. For you guys, like what would be like one or two really big reasons for wanting to move?
Okay. Yeah, anytime you can avoid the actual word why.
Yep.
Like that word, horrible word.
Horrible word.
Horrible word, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me more, great. I love tell me more. That's like my favorite thing. People are like, yeah, we just want to get this out. Oh, cool, tell me more. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Tell me more about that. Whoa, tell me more. Like, it's so funny how you can get people going and just tell me more. Tell me those 3 words. Like, it's amazing how much you can get people to talk. And they just keep going. And then you think they're done. You're like, tell me more. They just keep going. Oh, wow, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Keep going. Like, it's so powerful. And, like, I learned Joe Stumpf, awesome coach out there in the real estate space. I went to one of his events a long time ago, and he talked about, like, you got to get past the, like, 1, 2, and 3 level, like, objections and motivations. Like, get a little bit deeper. When somebody's like, yeah, I want to buy a house. Okay. And then it's like, oh, well, what has you thinking about buying a house? Well, I want to buy something for my family. Like, nobody in my family's ever owned a home before. Cool. And then go into like, I'm the first one, that's ever made it to college, and my parents passed away, and I was, raised as in a broken family, and then I was adopted and all this stuff. And you're like, holy shit. Like, now you really get deep with somebody.
Yes.
And now when you connect on that like deep level, it's amazing. Because anytime you get somebody to talk that much and they share that deeper stuff, like the bond is there, right? Because before they work with you, they got to know, like, and trust you. If they're sharing that, there's a level of trust that goes in it. And some people just like to tell their story. They've never actually been like asked these questions. Everybody just stops at level 1 or 2. When you just get them going, it's amazing what happens.
And I'd say take the time too, like try to, I think one obstacle that I present in front of myself is that I'm trying to like, oh, let's go, let's get to the next person to talk to and the next person to talk to, but really just take an extra like 4 minutes or whatever it might take in that conversation, especially again if that person's qualified, because you don't want to talk to everybody. Like that one thing I have written up on my wall, it's like not everyone is deserving of your time. You need to talk to the people that you need to talk to.
Lord knows you could talk to anybody.
I can talk to anybody, but that's not going to serve everybody.
Even naked guys on planes, but hey.
Yeah. Google my name. So that's the biggest thing is doing that. But that's an obstacle again, is like, oh man, I got to talk to all these different people. But once you get them on the line, like if you're an ISA or an agent and you're just dialing for hours, once you get somebody on the line and they're qualified, take the time to talk to them. Like I had a great one. I just sent a referral out for a guy who's about to sell in San Jose and move here. And he's talking about all this stuff, about his family and about the property and this and this and this. And that comes from not being rushed through the conversation. Because I could have ended that conversation 5 minutes earlier. But then he just kept going and kept going and kept going. So, like, that's a gift. It's a gift when people want to keep talking. Because you're on the phone to talk to people. So if they're willing to share these things, just slow down, take the time, bring silence to the table, and let them talk more. So
here's a question that was asked recently was, if you're on a call with a lead, engaged in a conversation, and another lead call's coming in, what do you do?
Ooh, so, man, I feel like I have so much to say about this. Our system now is actually preventing us from answering new leads, which is tough for me, because if I know it's not a good lead, I do want to end that conversation.
Yeah.
So, like, ooh. So I'm curious your thoughts on that one, because I do want to be like, all right, Joe, sounds good. Well, if you need anything from me, let me know. I'll text you my info, click, and then on to the next one. Like, that's what I want to do, especially if I know that person's very unqualified. That's what I want to do. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the system does what I want it to do, which is you never leave a good conversation in hopes of getting into a good conversation, right? If you're engaged with somebody, you don't want to leave that. Just like we do open houses is a big thing for us. Like if I'm hosting an open house and I'm locked in with somebody and I'm engaged, like I'm not going to bounce the person. Like I got a good lead. I'm in a good conversation. I'm not going to be like, hey, I know we're vibing, but like there's that guy over there. I'm going to go talk to him real quick. Like you wouldn't do that, right?
I did that though when I was an agent. It was such a bad move. Like what do you know? Like things didn't go super well with some of these leads. But yeah, if you lock in with that person.
Yeah, if you're vibing, like don't leave a good conversation hoping to find a good conversation. Like that's this whole goal is to like get in good conversation with people. Don't leave it.
You've already accomplished the mission. You've gotten into a good conversation. Don't leave it.
For sure. Cool. What are some other tips you wanted to share today?
I'd say honestly, the silence is just so golden. Just learn to shut up.
Yeah, which is now if you guys haven't noticed, Nick likes to talk. Nick's got a big personality, a lot of energy. But what I've seen him do as good as, if not better than anybody, is just shut the fuck up and just allow the awkward pause, like this awkward silence. It's almost like a game of like chicken. Like
it's the most fun game of chicken. Yes, 100%.
So what's like one or two scenarios where you use the hard pause?
Anything, like any time. If you feel like someone just hasn't given you enough info, like if they haven't given me an answer that satisfies me, and it's multiple times. I just hang out on the line until they hang up on me too. It happens. Not saying that that's the ideal situation. It happened this morning. What do you know? But I'd say that's the biggest one. If they're just like not elaborating, and then of course if they're taking a super long time and they're still there, then you want to mirror them.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just waiting another year. Pause. Waiting another year, and then try to have them elaborate from there. So that's another great tool. Kevin Waters has been doing a bang up job on that lately. Like he's super good at mirroring and labeling things, but that's a big one.
The hard pause, just before you move on from that one, is the biggest value in it is that it makes you listen better. Because where I see agents, especially newer agents that are very eager and antsy, is they're not actually listening. Like somebody's answering the freaking question and they're queuing up the next question before they hear the answer. And so they're like, somebody's talking, they're hearing, but they're not listening. And as soon as the person's done, they're jumping in with the next question, which actually tells the client you didn't listen to what they just said. You just jumped, like they just went here and you went there, like two totally different places. Like you gotta listen. You can't, like, yes, having a script is like, it's good. It'll help you keep you on track, make sure you ask the questions you need to, but it's not like always a straight line. Like these conversations are gonna zigzag all over the place, but the script helps you zig back on track. When you get off track, cool, it's okay to go off track to a certain extent, and then the script will help bring you back on track. But so don't be afraid to go off track with people. Like, yeah, you might have, whether it's LP Mom or ALMS or whatever script you're using, like those are great. Those give you a general framework, but you can deviate. You could go off track. It's okay.
Totally.
Just come back on track eventually. Understand that you're off track, but know where you need to come back in at.
Yeah, and don't let them steer it too. If they're asking just like a ton of ridiculous questions, or you got a super high I personality that's just talking about everything that has nothing to do with real estate, then you got to really bring it back, or else you got to move on to the next person, because it happens. We've all been there with that kind of person.
Do you have a script for getting the crazy person off the line?
Oh gosh, for getting a crazy person off the line, I'd probably just sometimes you just got to say, hey, I got to head into a meeting in the next few minutes, but hey, really good talking with you. If you need anything, I'll send you my contact info, and looking forward to talking in the future. Whatever questions you have, I'll be a resource for you. But I'd say that's the one. You hate getting those calls, but or it's just cutting them off, just kind of being rude sometimes. I mean, yeah, okay, great, yeah, love that about the dog or whatever they're talking about. Let's bring it back to whatever we were talking about, the area you're looking at, and bring it back that way. But when it comes to, we were talking about the silence. Another thing, you were saying antsy new realtors, or they'll be really excited. They'll kind of cut people off and start talking about that thing that the customer was talking about, but they weren't done saying what they were saying. If you just be quiet and let them just fully run out of steam with what they were going to say, they'll probably answer the question you were going to answer anyways.
Yeah, love that.
That you wanted to be answered anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other tips before we wrap up?
Oh man, I feel like there's so much I want to share right now. Be the driver. I think that's the biggest thing. That's what really increased my numbers this last year and has made it the best year ever, is just know that you are the authority, you're the expert, and you're the driver here. We're not recommending things. We're saying this is the next step and this is what we're doing to people. We're not asking, hey, can we maybe do a listing meeting, or maybe we could do a consult of some sort? No, we're not asking anything. We're just saying, hey, cool, next step is we're going to do this. Mornings or afternoons, are those best for you? And then you're moving on from there. Just be the driver. Otherwise, you're just going to get pummeled out there, and that's not a good time. So just know that. Just be the driver in this. We're setting up the next steps. We're setting appointments, and we're telling people what's going to happen next. We're not asking what's going to happen next.
Love it. Good stuff, too. All right. Well, hopefully you guys got some value out of the show today. If you did, if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure to hook us up with a review on there so more people can get to enjoy this content. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up so YouTube knows you're enjoying it. Also hit the little subscribe button and notification bell so you get updated of future episodes of the show. We are going to dive into our widget of the week. Hopefully you're prepared for it.
I am. I sure am.
Good. Before we do, if you have a question you want to have answered on a future episode of the show, you can always go to thewhisselway.com, ask us questions, subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel, join the referral network email newsletter, and get details on our Media Mayor Mastermind video course, where we'll teach you everything we've learned over the last 7+ years of cranking out thousands of videos together. As we wrap up, want to share our widget of the week. This is something we utilize in our business. It saves us time, makes us more money, or just helps us have more fun. What do you got for us?
Oh, this week we have the tool that I never shut up about, and that is Text Expander, which is phenomenal. Saves so much time. I'm trying to recruit as many converts as I can over to the Text Expander way, just because there are probably so many things that you type in over and over and over and over again. And I remember myself when I would do this, let's say if it was some kind of a template or my name or email address, whatever, those days are behind you if you use Text Expander. So with Text Expander, you basically just save a shortcut, kind of like you do in your iPhone. You say, TTYL, talk to you later. You do the exact same thing in Text Expander. So all these different things. For example, my buyer script, my giant buyer script, my seller script, my enormous seller script. When I'm on the computer and I'm talking to someone, I click in 4 letters and everything pops up in front of me like magic. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm not searching for certain documents. I'm literally typing in the same letters that I type in every single day, and it saves me hours, if not days, throughout the year. It's phenomenal.
Love it. I'm going to share one. I might have shared this before, so if I'm regurgitating it, I'm sorry, but we've done like 100+ episodes of this, and sometimes you're just going to repeat some stuff. So self-included, a lot of us have trouble with grammar. We just don't use proper grammar. We're commonly misspelling things, or we don't know when to do a hyphen or a semicolon, or what's the right word to use in different scenarios. There's a service called Grammarly, Grammarly. There's a free version and a paid version. But Grammarly will just, right inside of Google Chrome, will just help you every time you screw something up with your grammar. It'll underline it, and it'll tell you like, hey, you screwed this up. And then it'll even recommend like how to fix it. So if you're somebody who struggles with using proper grammar, you got to get Grammarly. It's freaking free, and it works amazingly well. And it will help your emails be much better for clients, because I know when somebody sends me something that doesn't have proper grammar, I might question the skill set of that person. So anything you can do to improve your grammar is going to help you improve your conversion rate with your leads. So that's what I got. Well, Nick, it's been fun, dude. I appreciate you joining us today, and appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks so much for tuning in this episode of the Whissel Way Podcast.
Adios.
Wait. Before you leave, I want to share some more tips and tricks that we're using in our business to take it to that next level. Just click right here. And don't forget to subscribe. Click right here.